Formula One is back in the Americas for the Miami GP weekend. We do have some upgrades to go over, and weirdly enough, this GP always brings some special liveries. And if the competition was to make the worst special livery, Ferrari would take the cake every single time. But seriously, I'm not sure what they're doing. Their racing suits always look beautiful, and then they end up making this monstrosity. But the Racing Bulls, that is a chef's kiss. That looks beautiful, spotless. That is how you go all out on a special livery. The state car, I mean, looks pretty much the same, maybe a little better than their actual livery they've been using in the season. But it's weird that this American GP always gets the special liveries, not something like a Coda, which we all adore and love that track. But let's talk about what's been brought here to Miami. It's not too many big things. I'm going to talk about teams that I don't typically talk about, which is nice. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I upload about 3 to 4 times a week, so you have plenty of content to look forward to. And thank you guys so much for the support. Let's get started with the rear wings being brought in Miami. Now, okay, let's talk about the top 4 teams. You got McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull, and Mercedes. McLaren rocking the same rear wing they used in Jeddah, low downforce. They do have that slot gap that I keep seeing people talk about as to whether it's legal or not. Yes, it's legal. It was the flexing that was being talked about with the whole mini DRS. They don't really gain much of an advantage. Any team can use that gap right there to be bigger or smaller depending on however they want to do it. It's just McLaren that's used that space to make it bigger in comparison to the other teams. Just wanted to clarify that. Now for Ferrari, they are using the updated Jeddah rear wing. They had 2 different iterations. One didn't have that little tiny curve towards the end over there. They are going to use that yet again. It was on Leclerc's car first. I think Lewis ended up running it in FP3. So they're going to stick with the wing. I think they had a pretty decent Jeddah. They don't actually have the middle cutout like they sometimes do for a bit of a lower downforce track. Forgot to mention, but the McLaren is a 2 out of 5. Same with the Ferrari, both 2 out of 5s. Red Bull rocking the same rear wing from Jeddah, and I'm not even going to talk about it. Mercedes has used this exact same rear wing for every single GP so far. It's crazy the confidence they have in this car. Top speed is solid. So is the downforce. Till they bring a bunch of upgrades, there was some rumors of them bringing stuff here. I have yet to see stuff on the car that we have seen, and I will go over it a little bit. We didn't have any upgrades, so that's all going to be brought to Imola for Mercedes as well as Ferrari. Now there's more to talk about with the other 4 teams. You got Aston Martin, Alpine, Haas, and Racing Bulls. And yes, I do have the state car and Williams car pictured. I will talk about them as well before anybody mentions it. Looking at Aston Martin, I'm not sure they know what race it is this weekend. It is Miami. Low downforce is preferred. They're rocking a barn door in comparison to everybody else. They've already been slow. Now they're going to take and solidify P10 if this is what they rock. I think they have 2 different rear wings. I've yet to see it, but they brought 2 different rear wings in Jeddah. They didn't rock the one with a big barn door. Here, it's way too big to actually take advantage of the top speed you get here in Miami. I don't expect this. This is a 3 out of 5, almost a 4 out of 5. Thing is huge. Reminds me of like the W13 Mercedes when I was rocking those barn doors every single time. Now looking at Alpine, complete contrast. You have a rear wing that will probably be ran in Monza. It's always this team. They do have the power unit disadvantage. So typically they rock something very low to try and take away from them having that disadvantage. It's actually been a pretty solid car. I don't think it's going to be as good of a weekend as they had in Bahrain. It's not anything close to that type of track, more like a Jeddah. But to me, what they're rocking right here, it's about a 1.5 out of 5. I can't really give it Monza spec. We've seen lower. So I guess I'll still keep it at a 2 just to keep the scale pretty easy to follow. Looking at Haas, they're rocking a decent amount of downforce here as well. Not as much as Aston Martin, but pretty close. On the scale, they're going to look the same. I think the AMR wing is bigger and is producing more rear downforce, which also means more drag is being produced in the rear there. Haas, they've been okay in the top speed. That used to be a huge advantage for them. I think they're going to change from this. Now, Racing Bulls has, yet again, a very skinny rear wing. 2 out of 5. They're rocking the beautiful pink livery, but we got to see what they end up going with on the weekend. I think Jeddah could have been better if they didn't start further back in qualifying. Okay, this is the best picture I could get of Williams. Unfortunately, there's not too many pictures without all these watermarks all over, but the Williams is rocking a 2 out of 5 like most of the teams are here. Pretty low in downforce. Their rear wings that they've brought in this season are very similar. There's not too much differences. It has not been updated yet, the actual Williams car itself. I'm not even expecting to see too many upgrades really in the season, but in the rear, they're sticking with 2 out of 5. I expect a very solid weekend out of this Williams team. Now looking at Sauber, we're going to look at a couple of things here because they have brought an update, very minor, but we will talk about it. Now the rear wing itself, rocking a 2 out of 5. They've been okay in the top speed. The car overall isn't horrible like it was last year, but still far off in pace to its competitors. They do have a different front wing here. They've been changing up the way that last flap has been angled and really the cutouts they've been doing in it. This time it's much more simplified than the previous version. I think this is just to really compensate for a lower downforce track where you want to minimize drag on these straights to have more top speed. That is why they've brought this type of front wing. Just a subtle change to its previous front wing. Now Alpine has something different here, and I really wanted to talk about this because I'm not sure why we are even seeing this front wing here on this track. Now they've been rocking, as you can see on the bottom, that front wing for every single track pretty much. They haven't changed much on it, and it's been doing them good. Pretty solid car. That is last year's front wing with a couple of different changes there around the nose shape. Obviously, very flat and big and almost fat-like, as well as the cutout on that last flap, which is more drastic towards that nose rather than how gradual and easy it is on the front wing they've been rocking more throughout the season. Now you could say the car is getting a little bit less drag with the front wing on top. I purely think they're going to test this. There's no way, I mean, seriously, it would be very crazy if they ran the front wing from last year because the car in general was just not good. And I don't think the front wing was working well either. And this is a completely different car. Just something interesting to talk about. Now, as I stated earlier, this Mercedes that we're seeing here in the pit lane is the exact same as it was in Jeddah. Nothing has changed here. And since the beginning of the season, they did have a front wing where the nose was going all the way down to that bottom flap. But since testing, they have not ran that at all. And it's always been this one where it's disconnected from the bottom plane. Cooling in Miami will also be a big part here, as we can see on the Haas car. I think we're going to see this adjusted a lot more. I don't expect it to be as drastic as we saw it in Bahrain, but it's still going to be pretty hot here. It depends on whether we're going to get about half of these open or 5 or 6 kills. And that could make a big difference in the drag being reduced on a track where top speed is extremely important. Lastly, I will make a video on this if you guys want to, a very short one tomorrow, right after probably FP1 or somewhere near that. Red Bull is getting a new floor. That is the biggest upgrade really coming to Miami. Kind of unexpected, but at least Telegraph right now is covering it. We got no pictures, which is so unfortunate. But Verstappen is going to be running that new floor. Hopefully we can actually see some changes, whether they're subtle or not. This is the Imola floor. It's the big upgrade that they've been waiting for. Testing it here in Miami. We'll see if they actually end up using it in the GP weekend. I will make a short video talking about it though tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Very little things here for now. We're going to see much more in Imola. That's going to be a big video. I'm excited for that. So stay tuned. Please leave a like, subscribe. It would mean the world. And peace.